Hi, this is Scott speaking again about the situation in the world. I really hope that things change quickly and that the war budgets are just incredibly huge. I know the United States was planning on spending over $2 trillion on weapons of mass destruction, of missiles. Almost every country in the world has military budgets, and the thing is, the world is dying. It's dying. The trees are dying, the plankton, the sea life is dying because of this pollution. And plankton is the number one producer of oxygen on the earth. The trees are also dying, and they're the number two source of oxygen on this earth. And I used to say that I really thought that, people in general said that water will be the new gold. Well, in my opinion now, air, oxygen, pure oxygen will be the new gold. Because there's not going to be any more oxygen. People will just suffocate. If we don't change something very quickly and stop the acid rain with all the all the fossil fuels, and start putting money into fusion reactors, which produce hydrogen, and then the hydrogen can be used in hydrogen fuel cells, which is already powering some cars, but not enough. And people think if they have an electric car that everything's wonderful, but it's not wonderful. They have a tremendous number of batteries in them, even though they have no output. They have no output, it's true, but the batteries have to be recycled, which is part of this overall cycle of destruction on the earth. So the only possibility is to put money into hydrogen fuel cell technology that will power the cars, the aircraft, the whatever. It can power anything, even big ships. But we have to put money into it. We have to put money into the technology of hydrogen reactors, which produced hydrogen in the first place. They produce hydrogen. So why don't we put money into the hydrogen fuel that comes out of that whole circle of production? Why not? Because then we can start putting more money into hydrogen fuel cells after the fusion reaction process is really financed extremely well, and they can start really working on fusion reactors. That would be a wonderful change instead of wars, wouldn't it? And all the people that are dying because of homelessness or dirty water on this earth is just horrible. People are dying every day, whether it's in the Middle East or in Africa someplace, or in some places I should say, but especially in the Ukraine and in Russia right now. But the homeless, I used to live in San Francisco. It was my favorite city in the world. Now it's filled with homeless people. And not speaking of Donald Trump, I wouldn't even mention his name, but I did actually live in Alexandria, Virginia for a while. And while in Alexandria, I visited Washington, D.C. I was very excited to see the different monuments and to see the White House. And when I got to the White House, when Johnny Baby was in there, he had about, I would say probably at least 10-foot high walls to protect him because of all the people that loved him so much. But what was really extremely disgusting was that I walked down past the White House to a park that should have been for children. But unfortunately it was filled with about 3,000 rats. And speaking of that person I just spoke of before, who else in the world would say something like he said in front of politicians and his own daughter? He said, "If she wasn't my own daughter, I would do her." He also said, I could walk down Madison Avenue and kill someone and they couldn't do anything about it. That guy has got to be impeached. Of course, I hope someone takes Putin out with a long rifle one of these days, because Putin changed all the rules, all the rules that were on the books, just so he could stay in power. And now he's trying to take back the Ukraine, which of course, who drew the borders in the first place? Who drew the borders? It's like this. There's a song, From a Distance. Listen to that sometime if you can. From up in space, you can't see the borders because they're not really there. They're not there. And she says the snow-capped mountains are white, but they're not going to be white much longer unless we stop the pollution. So please, think about speaking to your senators, your congressmen, or any other leaders in whatever country you're in, and try to get the war budgets turned over into peaceful means, like I spoke about before. Whether it's clean air, clean water, stop killing the trees, stop killing the plankton, then we have a chance to survive on this earth. And also, one of the main things I've known ever since I was a kid is that education is lacking in this world hugely. If we can start funding education worldwide, can you just imagine how many things would be solved by that? So many things would be solved by that. All right, well, thank you for listening, and I hope that you will really talk to your whatever representatives you can speak with about changing this stuff. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.